In this video, we're going to go over how you can make 10 grand selling books on Amazon. I'm joined here with Peter Valley. He's been doing this for 15 plus years, and he's going to break down how doing mini vacations or sourcing road trips can make you a ton of money. So if you ever plan on, going to the beach with your family, this is a good way to get away from your family, make some money. And let's be honest, like traveling's fun and making money while you travel is fun. And if you guys don't know, this is how I started selling on Amazon years ago, 2018. I was living in my car, traveling the country, went out west to California, didn't know what the hell I was doing. We're going to thrift stores, libraries, used bookstores, find books on the shelf. And the cool thing about traveling on the road is you never know when you're going to hit like a honey hole town that just has tons and tons of profit. So Peter Valley is going to break down how to do this. Welcome to the channel, brother.
Dude, this is my favorite subject. I am thrilled for this.
Let's get into it.
Okay. So I have cumulatively probably spent a couple years on the road traveling, sourcing inventory. So I've learned a lot in that time. I don't actually talk about it as much, the traveling stuff, because I think it's kind of alienating a lot of people. So I don't actually talk about it. But if you're here, you're obviously interested in this subject. Other thing I'll mention is it's not just about traveling for adventure and sourcing inventory on the road to fund your travels. I also find when I feel like my inventory sources at home are kind of tapped out, it's good just to hit the road, or I feel like they're tapped out. They never actually
refreshing too.
Feel that way. Hit the road and just kind of do a hard reset on your business, source a bunch of inventory, come home, and so it serves a couple of functions.
Yeah, I love travel sourcing, man. Like just something so refreshing about hitting the open road, hitting thrift stores you've never been to before. Maybe no resellers are in that town. I love going to small towns. That's my favorite.
I love the small towns. It's like it's the small towns. It combines adventure and inventory sourcing, because the thing about small towns is a lot of these towns exist in a vacuum where like they have no outside influence. So you just encounter, people that have never it's like thrift stores are definitely not looking up books on the internet in these small towns, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah, I remember I went to Havasu, Arizona, the super wealthy town, like lake town, and I hit the Goodwill there and just literally left with like a full cart of books.
Where I went recently, this is about 6 months ago, I did a trip around the some of the national park. I wasn't going into the national parks, but I was kind of circumnavigating the national parks around in the Northwest. So like Glacier and what is it in Jackson Hole, whatever. The thrift stores on the perimeter of national parks are utter gold mines, because I think people go out there for a couple of weeks to buy a bunch of books and they just donate them all at the end. I'm not really sure. Yeah. But it's insane the profit you can get around these national parks.
Yeah. And in national forest for 2 weeks, you can sleep in the woods in your car. I don't know who's tracking that, but I used to do that.
Yeah. My preference is always to sleep in the parking lots of the nicest hotel. I'll go on Priceline. I'll sort by price from highest to lowest, and I'll just find the richest hotel and sleep in their parking lot. That's
smart.
And you go in the lobby and you have all the resort. Anyway, whole thing.
Yeah. You ever got kicked out of those?
A couple of times. I've definitely had the whole can I help you question, which is functionally getting kicked out, even if it never comes to that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's happened.
Yeah. I've gotten the dreaded knock a few times on my car.
Oh, I don't think I've ever been caught in my car. I'm pretty discreet about it. I always find a corner that's like in the shadows. I've been pretty discreet. And
I got caught at least 2-3 times in my car. Well, one time it was just a crossing guard waking up at 4 a.m. to go to work, and she felt so sorry for me that she gave me $15. After I had I literally purchased probably like $1,000 in profit at the Goodwill the day before. I bought this jiu-jitsu book that I sold for $250, and I'm like, this lady has no idea that I guess I didn't really know either, but I was building like an Amazon business that was going to be my future and make me hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I just so happened to be sleeping in my car outside of her house, and so she thought I was some brokey, which I was, but I didn't need the $15 from her. I felt bad.
You might have been making more than she was.
Yeah, at least in potential profit.
So I've got some tips. I've learned a lot on kind of how to make this process efficient. So we can talk about that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So one thing I do when I leave is I always create an airtight sourcing list in advance. So I do all my research in advance, because when you're traveling, it's all about efficiency. Like for me, I want to kind of minimize the time I spend sourcing and maximize the time I spend just having adventures. And sourcing's fun, but maybe you don't want to be doing 8 hours a day, right? So you want to be really, really efficient about how you go about it. So what I do is I create an airtight sourcing list before I even leave. So I kind of front load the trip with all the sourcing research and sources. And obviously, you have to allow room for like serendipity or like organically stumbling upon things. But I want to at least have a solid list before I leave, so I know where I'm going to go, and I know probably I'll be able to cover all my expenses just based on that source list, and whatever else I find on the way is just gravy. So the second tip to make your travel sourcing more efficient is to focus only on the most profitable sources. So when I create my list, I don't just fill it with as many sources as possible. I want to pare it down to like only the sources that are going to have the highest likelihood of profit. So as you're doing research, and everyone's kind of got like the sources they love the most, and so I'll kind of leave that up to you as to what those sources are. But whatever you think is going to be most profitable for you, eliminate anything from your list that doesn't have a high likelihood of being profitable. So those wild card sources, or like the big maybes, or like I don't know if this can be profitable. Go ahead and just leave those off. Keep those. Maybe have a separate list for that, so you can get to them if you have time, or the other sources don't pan out. But you want to focus only on the most profitable sources. Again, for me, this is just about maximizing the time that I have to do other things other than sourcing. Third tip is to set a profit target. So you've got your scan app. You roughly know what you can, it's generally what you can expect to make from your haul. When you hit your profit target, you want to be calculating your expected profits as you go, so that when you hit that target, you go, okay, now I can kind of relax a little bit. Like maybe I'll still source, but maybe you won't source as much or as fervently. For me, because I'm just so neurotic about covering my expenses, I always want to know what are my expenses, so I know exactly what profit target I want to hit. And obviously I'll go a little bit beyond that because, prices tank, stuff doesn't sell, all that stuff, right? But I'll go a little bit beyond that, but I'll have a target in my mind of like, okay, I want my expected profit to be this amount. And then once I see, my scan app or however I calculate it, that I've hit that target, it's like, all right, well, I can kind of chill a little bit. So I can, still source, but not source as much. But you always want to know a number. And again, maybe this is just for the neurotics out there that are just like particular about making sure you cover all your expenses. I'm definitely one of those people. So that's what I do. Number 4 tip is to enter all your sources. You got your list, enter them into a Google map. And the reason this increases your efficiency is Google Map will allow you to create the most efficient route between your sources. So if I'm going to like Boise, Idaho, it's like I've got a list of 10 sources. And I know where my hotel is, or if I'm not staying in a hotel, I know what parking lot I'm going to sleep in or whatever. I can create an efficient map to route myself, so I'm not just zooming all over town in a really inefficient manner. So Google Maps cool about that. Get like the most efficient route between all the sources down. So again, you can kind of put the sourcing behind you and actually, have some adventures, have some fun.
Yep.
Last tip is to know how to utilize public resources to list and pack your FBA shipments. So most of my traveling historically has been, I call it functionally homeless, right? So it's like high class homelessness, like we talked about, right? So you're like sleeping in the hotel parking lot. Maybe you're, sneaking in their spa. Maybe you're sneaking in their continental breakfast. You're using their resources. It's kind of like being like a highbrow low life, so to speak. So when I'm doing this, I'm always utilizing public resources if I'm not, if I don't have a hotel. So that includes, a lot of this involves, as we talked about, hotel lobbies, right? So I'm using their printers, using their Wi-Fi. I'm packing and shipping my boxes in their lobbies oftentimes. I'm particular hotels, but there's other ways you can do this. I've spent a lot of time like in like the Whole Foods cafes, or like you said, Starbucks, packing shipments, listing in public, but just know how to utilize public resources. So you want to print your labels. Again, hotel lobbies are fantastic for that. And, again, just feel comfortable taking up public space to list and ship.
Are you labeling your books?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Are you using 30 up labels then?
So yeah, so I mean, I will go to Whole Foods and I'll like set up in the cafe, and I'll have my printer and I'll have my laptop, and I try to be a little bit discreet. I don't want to like scream, okay, there's a homeless guy in our midst, but you have to be a little bit shameless when you're traveling, right? Like people are gonna know this is somebody that doesn't have anywhere else to be right now, and you have to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thanks for coming on the channel. Oh, do you have another tip?
No, that's it.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the channel. They can follow you below on YouTube, and you also have a blog, fbamastery.com. We'll link that below too. And then, yeah, thanks so much, Peter.
Hey, thanks, man.
And guys, remember, this is made possible by GoToLister, the fastest listing software on the planet. If you guys invest in GoToLister, you'll also get access to my video course with over 100 videos on how to start selling books on Amazon. Check out the speed of GoToLister right here. Attention Amazon FBA booksellers. I used to hate listing books on Amazon because of how long it took, but GoToLister has fixed that. GoToLister allows me to scan, label, and ship 100 plus books per hour. It's the fastest listing software that exists for Amazon sellers. Listing fast allows me to spend more time finding profitable inventory rather than listing all day. One of the best things about GoToLister is our intelligent pricing feature that automatically prices your faster selling items at higher prices. Click the link below to give GoToLister a free trial for 14 days.